We have Thomas Woodrow Wilson as our president.
Assign president.
Here are the table of contents, biological details, political affairs, a brief history sketch of our president, high achievements of our president and lowest failures of our president, funny facts about our president, or as fact, and our rating of our president.
And on the biographical details, we have that he was born in Virginia, USA, in the night of the 28th to 29th December 1856, and he died in Washington, D.C. the 3rd February 1942 at age of 67. His education was he graduated from Princeton, then the College of New Jersey, and the Law School of University of Virginia. And his line of work was he actually became a professor, and he got a PhD in social science. And he became he became the professorship at Princeton, which he achieved in 1890, and in 1902 he became the university's 13th president, and it was mostly due to Wilson's efforts that the College of New Jersey evolved into a prestigious Princeton University. In addition to a campus renowned for his caring demeanor and high ideals, but it was his oratory skill that brought him renown beyond the university setting. Wilson's first stroke occurred while at Princeton in May 1906, seriously threatening his life. During his time as university president, some of Wilson's views on AC came to light. He had unfavorably written about Eastern and Southern Europeans as men of the lowest class as he expanded. Political ambitions in university politics had transformed Wilson into a social democrat, and he was tapped for the governorship of New Jersey in 1910. A determined reformer, his successors made him the darling of progressives, and he was nominated as the Democratic president candidate on the New Freedom platform in 1902. In his personal life, Wilson had fallen in love with a woman named Ellen Lewis Axon, which was an artist at church and traveled a lot during her work. And Ellen was an educated woman, and she was really smart. And most of her family didn't think that she would get a man because men don't like smart women. And then in 1907, Wilson actually broke Ellen's heart when he had an affair while visiting Bermuda on a resort trip. The couple moved on from the incident, however, and remained together. When Ellen died of kidney disease during Wilson's first year in the White House in 1913, he reportedly walked around in a daze for days whispering, "My God, what am I to do?" Because his wife actually helped him a great deal while he was in the president. But then later on, he met a widow named Edith Bowling. They met because Wilson was grieving, and so was Edith Bowling, over their husbands and wife. And the two of them became really close, and then after some time in 1915 December, he married Edith Bowling, and then and Wilson entrusted Edith with a secret code that accessed highly confidential war documents in the Oval Office meetings. And then when President Wilson suffered his second stroke, In October 1919, Edith masked the severity of his illness and making decisions in his head and becoming the first undercover female president. And then we have political affiliation.
Yes, political affiliation. Woodrow was a Democrat, or he ran for the Democrat in the presidential election. While in office, he won because the Republicans actually had two people who went for president. They had Theodore Roosevelt and William Taft, who then split the votes, which made sure that Woodrow would become president. He reduced tariff, which was he reduced the tariff, which was transport and export taxes from goods coming and going from USA. He made the Federal Reserve Act, which kind of was like a system provided for regulation of the national banks' credit and money supply. He also made a Fair Trade Commission, which sort of was like to prohibit unfair business practices, such as child labor, too long workdays for railroad workers, or the government loans to farmers. All that should help the little people. He also voted in the first Jewish person in the Supreme Court. And during the Great War, the First World War, he was neutral to begin with, but because of the constant threat from Germany and the sinking of a trade ship, he decided to go into the war. 1.5 years after he went in, the war was over, and he was crowned the reason it was won. He then later started the Versailles Treaty and got huge backup from the European countries, but no backup in the Senate from USA.
And then we have a brief historical sketch of the presidency. In 1912, Woodrow Wilson was elected as president. In 1913, he signed the Federal Reserve Act, as said before. In 1914, World War I began, and in 1915, a German submarine sank the RMS Louisiana, which made Woodrow Wilson react to the First World War. And in 1916, Woodrow Wilson was re-elected as president, and in 1917, the US entered the World War. And in 1918, the World War I ended because USA had kind of beaten Germany in late November. So yeah. And in 1919, the Sailors Treaty was signed, and in 1920, women were given the right to vote, and in 1921, Woodrow Wilson ended his run as president, and we got a new president.
Highlights and lows. One of his highlights was that he got women the chance to vote. They didn't have to, but they could now. And he became governor of New Jersey in 1910, and that he was serving as president from 1913 to 1921. And one of the lows is that he's a racist, but only in white company, and that he banned selling and drinking alcohol for getting production up, but it kind of backfired. People started rallying and such like that. And he made his second wife able to be an undercover president to help the women's rights, like voting and stuff like that. and he also received the Nobel Prize of Peace in 1990. That's basically what he did in his life. Our president in art and popular culture, he was nicknamed the schoolmaster of politics because he really knew how to spin his words and make people believe that he could do what he wanted with his politicians. And depiction in modern culture, unfortunately, there isn't that many depictions of him in the modern culture. But we found a picture, like you can see on the screen, of him signing something, we think. But that's probably that we can find of him in modern culture.
Yeah. Fun facts about the president. He was the first and only president with a PhD in political science. After his stroke, he suffered severe disabilities and couldn't carry on with his presidential duties. So his wife went on as an undercover president. Many believe she was the first female president. He also won a Nobel Peace Prize for his treaty in the Nobel Peace Treaty because of the Versailles Treaty he started.
And we have our ranking of our president. If we saw it from the view from his time, we would give him a solid 90 because he did a lot of things that was very good for the world, like the Versailles Treaty. He gave a woman right to vote. He did a lot of great things. But from our time, he also did some bad things. He was a racist, and he tried to inform apartheid in the work culture. So it was that the white and black people were split up when they were working, and we didn't like it, so it kind of lowered him a bit. But yeah, that's it. That's all, folks.